Hey Flosstube, it's Emer. Today is the 3rd of August. Somehow. Where did July go? I don't know. And I am back with another episode of Flosstube for you all. Um, if you've been watching my recent videos, you can probably guess that I don't have a whole lot by way of whips, but I have some other kind of like recently acquired new stuff. I want your guys' advice on something, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my plans for the future. All right. So I'm going to start with what I have come to refer to as the old reliable, which is the peppermint purple black work stitch along. By the way, I had to get a new phone recently, so I hope the camera quality is good on this. It should be similar, comparable to my old camera, but we'll see. So this is, I believe, 30 weeks of black work so far. I'm really enjoying how the color gradient works. Even like zoomed out, you probably can't make out the individual tiles, but I'm really enjoying how that color flows down from the reds, orange, yellow. I've started doing like a limey green color. Yeah, and it's going to go down into darker greens, and yeah, I think it finishes with a dark green. I don't think I go down into browns. That was something I considered, but eventually decided against, because while these colours are quite autumnal and brown would certainly fit with the palette, I just wasn't in love with the idea of doing brown. I had stitched up to this row border wise ages ago and decided like, oh, I'll leave it there. It will be forever before I approach, needing those tiles. And now we're on the row. So that's terrifying. I have decided that for now, my plan will be to stitch each new week as it comes, and the remainder of that day stitching the border. So for example, if I finish a tile on a Wednesday, which is when the square is released, I will spend the rest of that Wednesday stitching out the border. If I finish it on a Thursday, I'll spend the rest of the Thursday stitching out the border. If I finish it on a Friday, shame on me. No, that's not fair. There's no pressure. And I believe the designer actually put out a recent post just emphasizing that, this isn't a race. There's no medal for winning. There's no wooden spoon for those who fall behind. It's supposed to be enjoyable. This has been very enjoyable for me. I feel like every time I show it, I talk about how this has been the only thing that's given me a sense of like time progressing during the pandemic. And well, I say it every time because it's true. This is one of the few things that helps me realize that it still isn't like February of 2020, because what happened to 2020, I don't know. Anyway, that is the peppermint purple black work stitch along. I'm having an absolute blast with it. It is a joy to stitch each and every week. Here it is. Now, on to my next and only other whip, really, is Love is Where the Shepherd Is. I'll give you guys a quick reminder of what it will look like finished. And I'm going to show you where I am. You are probably wondering, Emer, why do you have a skein of floss pinned to the pattern? I have it because instead of the alphabet, I have stitched the couple's names. And while I'm sure they wouldn't mind me putting their names in this video, I don't have their permission, and I can't ask their permission because it's going to be a surprise. Therefore, I have blocked out their names with floss. I keep going to almost post this on my Instagram, then remembering like, oh no, the bride follows me on Instagram. Don't post this, it will ruin the surprise. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I thought I would be finished it by now, or kind of coming to the end, and all was going to plan until perhaps my favorite video game, which is a game called RimWorld, about like building a colony on a strange alien planet, released the 1.3 update with a whole bunch of new content, and they released an expansion for it, and I blame RimWorld for the lack of progress on my stitching. No, I haven't made zero progress. I feel like I definitely did the lady. I did that flower. I think I did the tree. I started the sheep today. They're so tiny. Look at their little heads. That little one I've done in brown is the only non-white sheep. That's why he's stitched and the others aren't stitched yet. I think there's a bird there. There's a bird there. Maybe a butterfly. Oh, there's the man there. I think I have a couple of leaves and flowers to do on the tree. And then I have some motifs. I think there's a big heart and then some like shapes underneath the date. But it's been a lot of fun to stitch on. This is I believe it is a 36 count linen, and I'm stitching over 2. I've got the tag somewhere in my project bag, but I don't have the project bag with me, so you get my guess at what this fabric is. It's been really fun to stitch on. I am enjoying stitching on linen. This is linen because I just caught sight of a little slub, but I am forever terrified when stitching over 2 that I'm going to do a stitch like half as wide or half as tall as it should be, and I do it occasionally. It's a lot easier to do if I have other stitches to, you know, kind of line it up against, but when they're out on their own, I have to be careful. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. Hopefully I will film another, I say this now, hopefully I will film another Flosstube video before the end of August and can show you guys the finished piece. If not, I'll put in a picture of my next video of what the finished piece looks like. And that is Love is Where the Shepherd Is by Jardin Privé. Designer Natalie Quichon. Apologies, Natalie. I've ruined your name. So, like I said, those are my 2 whips. Next up, I have the Bayonne cat. I can't recall if I've made any progress since I last showed this. I would be surprised if I have. I just want to show it as kind of a reminder, and because it's one of the pieces I intend to go back to once I'm finished with the wedding piece. So this is just such a fun piece. I know I had started on the trees, which make up the bottom border, and kind of under the trees there are little mice running about, but just look how fun that pattern is on the cat. It's such a really rich and colourful piece, and it just makes me happy stitching it. So that's something I'm really looking forward to getting back to. And it's like there's a lot of colour changing, but it feels like it comes together pretty fast. And I definitely appreciate that. The pattern. Also, I don't know how well the camera will pick it up, but the thread is variegated. For example, in this tree, no idea if it's picking it up. I don't think it is. But the colours shift ever so slightly. Maybe you'll see it clear on the snowflake. It's clear on the snowflake, where it's darker in the centre, lighter right around the edges. That just makes it even more fun to stitch with, because I'm like, oh, there's this slight rippling of the shade along the piece, and I'm like, it's just fun to stitch. So that is by Alpha Embroidery. I got the kit, came with the fabric. The sides are serged, so no fraying edges around the sides, which drives me crazy on my own pieces of fabric. Would recommend an Alpha Embroidery kit. Now, next up is, I guess it's technically a whip because it is a work in progress. It has just been a very long time since progress was made. This piece is Good Things Come to Those Who Bake. This is a DMC kit. Now, I bought this probably when I was about a year into cross stitching. This is the progress I have made. So what I would have to do is, the words are done. I would have to stitch the cake tray, back stitch it. I probably would do the roses, and I think I decided a long time ago that I wasn't bothered doing the border. I would just get a nice frame for it. Now, threads are fine. They are DMC threads. I like working with DMC. It's my like go-to basic thread. My problem is with the fabric. It is a 14 count white Aida. It has been a very long time since I worked with 14 count white Aida. And it's been a long time since I've worked with 14 count. It's been a long time since I've worked with white fabric. Like, you can probably tell from these two, they're kind of like that's cream and that's kind of a mottled greyish, very light brown. Even my black work, which admittedly is done on 14 count because I wanted to keep the detail, it's done on this. Of course, I say it now, it looks white, but in real life it is an off-white cream. And it's is it 16 count? No, it's 14 count. Surely it's 14 count. Whereas this, to me, is just a very starchy, bright white fabric. If it were just starchy, I could put up with it. But the white is really making me question whether I want to finish it. 14 count also makes this quite a sizable pattern. It is 8 by 10 inches, which isn't crazy big. 20 by 25 centimeters, but it's not tiny. It's not a You're really seeing me wrestle with this now. Even the picture looks very white. I think this would be such a cute piece if it were done like a cream background, or maybe a pink, some kind of mottled, dusty looking fabric. I think would be so cute, and would look like a little, like retro bakery that you'd find in a little alleyway in France. But the white, I think I'm talking myself out of this piece, which is a shame, because I agree with the message. Good things do come to those who bake. And I might stitch it someday. But looking at this now, I'm honestly thinking to myself that I wouldn't display it in my kitchen if I was finished with it. That white fabric feels very bare. It's very like harsh. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you would persevere, would you finish it? Would you kind of push on through? Like, I could even stitch the second tier, cut out the third, do the little legs. And leave it at that. Is that cheating? Do I care? Probably not. Then again, even if I did that, would I still want to display it? I don't know. I think I need convincing one way or the other. Convince me, guys. Please. Let me know what you think. I need help. Okay. So the next pattern is something that I am fairly certain I've shared before. It's Mirabilia. It is Cathedral Woods Goddess. I think this is such a cool pattern. I love Mirabilia in general. And why I'm showing you this is I just want to talk about literally a couple of Mirabilia related things. One of them is that it's just that I want to stitch all of the Mirabilias. They're all so cool. I have such a soft spot for these like regal looking ladies, queens, fairies, goddesses, whatever they all are. They always look so cool. Their dresses are beautiful, the colours are beautiful, beading is always beautiful. I want to stitch all of them. I know there's this guy on Reddit who has stitched a lot of them, and he's really cool, and just seeing his gallery of Mirabilia pieces, I'm like, I want that. I want a gallery of cool ladies in cool dresses. Some of them with antlers and some of them with wings, and it's just, for someone who's never stitched a Mirabilia, I am a fan. But speaking of stitching a Mirabilia, a while back I joined a Facebook group. I believe it's called Not Only But Also Mirabilia Stitching. It is a UK based group that mostly stitches Mirabilia work. They have a Zoom meetup every fortnight where they stitch mostly Mirabilia work, but also other stuff, as the name suggests. And I am going to my first ever stitching retreat in October, facilitated by this group. It is the Not Only But Also Mirabilia Stitching Retreat, and it is in Northampton, I believe, in England, which is like just above London. I am so excited to go. This will be coming with me. I will have an amazing fabric for her. I'm going to spend ages looking for the perfect fabric, I know it. And I'm going to kit her up and everything once I'm done with the wedding piece. I will make a start on her probably before the weekend, but she's coming to England with me. I'll probably bring some other stuff for that weekend too, just in case I get bored working on the one piece. But I'm so excited about that trip. I'm going to be fully vaccinated. I got my first shot last Friday, which is exciting in itself, but I'm going to be fully vaccinated. I booked the plane tickets and it just felt so surreal to be planning to go somewhere. I'm leaving the country. I'm staying over somewhere. I'll eat inside. For anyone who's confused by that, we haven't had indoor dining here in Ireland for quite some time. I think it was before Christmas was the last time I ate indoors in a restaurant. Obviously, I eat inside at home all the time, but here indoor dining has opened, but you have to be fully vaccinated and you have to show proof of vaccination to eat. And sadly, I do not have that proof. I mean, I think it's strict, but probably the right thing to do. So just knowing that I'm going to be fully vaccinated, I'll be going somewhere, I'll be hanging out with other cool stitchy people, I'll be stitching a Mirabilia. All of this just kind of snowballs into just me being really, really excited, and I can't wait. It'll be great, I hope. It will. And the final thing I have to show you today is a chart that I just happened to come across. This is Bella Filipina, Enchantress of the Deep. No, Enchantress of the Abyss. She is a really cool mermaid. And like I just said with the Mirabilia, I have such a soft spot for patterns with cool ladies. The mystery lies beneath the unexplored ocean floor, and one of them is this luring mermaid. She wanders, carrying cache of deep sea treasures to lure seafarers to be her lover. Very cool. Even this little gold seal at the back. But how I came across this pattern was I have an alert on Facebook Marketplace to notify me anytime a new listing is set up in Ireland with the word cross stitch. And I got a notification about this one day. It was a lady doing a stash unload. I think she had 2, maybe 3, I don't remember patterns, but so if you pay for postage, it's yours. And I saw this and I just knew that I wanted to stitch it. It is 13.3 inches wide and 20 inches high when done on 14 count Aida. As I've already talked about, 14 count isn't really my jam. I suppose I could do it on like a 28 count linen, which would work out to 14 count. realistically, I'll probably end up doing it on a 18 count, maybe a 16 count. So what, that's like a 32 or a 36 count even weave or linen. Just in general, I find it easier to get even weaves and linens with nice dye colours than I do Ada. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places. I don't know. I also don't know if I'd go with the called for fabric. I don't see the called for fabric listed on the front cover, but I'm sure it says it inside. It is a very cool fabric. I just wonder, does that dark green kind of blend in a little bit too much with some of her green fins and the like? Or maybe that's seaweed. I think it's probably seaweed. I don't know, maybe I'd go for more of a blue, navy, some kind of stormy mottled grey. I don't know. I want something that looks like she's underwater at the same time. So let me know if you have any recommendations for fabrics that you like to stitch mermaids on, particularly if it will suit this kind of green and purpley enchantress. She's so cool. I'm so lucky to have seen that. I haven't even broken the seal on this yet. I would love to start it, but I shouldn't. That's the short story. No, I shouldn't, because I want to finish the wedding piece. I also have the Dark Queen of the Sea, I think that's her name, by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Autumn Lane Stitchery. Yeah, I think that's what I said. Which was a stitch along. It's coming to the end. I started it in May. Honestly, guys, May feels like it was years ago, but also a week ago somehow. I'm not really sure where June and July went. That's why I need that peppermint purple stitch along. Otherwise, I'm like, it's 2021. What? When did that happen? Anyway, that's all I have for today, guys. Please let me know what you think of that DMC pattern. I admit I'm not feeling it. What should I do with it if I don't keep it? Do I give it away? I have all the threads and everything. Can I do that? I assume I can. Anyway, let me know what you think of my whips, of my plans, of my really cool Bella Filipina pattern. Let me know how you're feeling. Thanks for watching. Bye.